What is good, family? What is good? It is Monday night, so you know what that means. I'm your boy Cheats. This is the Black Baseball Mixtape podcast. The Monday crew is back completely in the building. I'm really excited to touch base on a lot of things with the crew. Basically, the end is here. We are going into the last week of the MLB regular season, and there are playoff pushes all over the place. There are epic surprises. There are epic collapses. Mets. We're going to talk about a lot of things as we go through this episode. So, before we do, as always, I want to thank our partners, the Players Alliance, Numbers Game Scorecards, Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, Minority Prospects. Please make sure you check out our partners. And while you're doing that, if you haven't yet already, please subscribe to the Black Baseball Mixtape podcast. It's streaming everywhere. Make sure you subscribe. And if you can, please rate and review. The crew is here. I've got my Oakland Ballers hat, the newly crowned Pioneer League champion Oakland Ballers hat on. Shout out to them. Very congratulations. If you haven't been following that story, I will admit I've been a little bit off and on this season on that story, but I will say this. I know they have one of the historically best records in the history of the Pioneer League, and they have like 5 or 6 brothers on their team.
Mhm.
There's a couple of things that you'll be able to check out on the Instagram page in the next couple of days about their championship. So congratulations to them. Flobo Boyce, my boy.
Yes,
How are you
sir.
holding up, Flobo?
Man, I'm kind of discombobulated. First of all, shout out to the Brooklyn Cyclones, the South Atlantic League champions, single A
There you go.
Mets. But that's not all the good Mets news happening right now. But I am okay. New in the booth is out this week, talking with DJ for the win Crabtree. So gotta give props to that. So I'm kind of little column A, little column B. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's already getting a lot of motion. Brand new in the booth. I saw it on your timeline. I saw it on the Black Baseball Mixtape timeline as well. Very good stuff, man. I'm seeing the comments. Make sure everybody checks out the latest episode of In the Booth. And Flobo is going to try to make it through this episode, knowing that his Mets are holding on by a
Nah.
thread, holding on, but did lose a series to the Nationals just now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, April, you were breathing easy a little bit last week. You were breathing a little bit easier. I think you're breathing a little bit easier even today, right? As we look at where the Dodgers are, uh, no real worries now, right? No real worries for the Dodgers. They are up 3 games. They still haven't clinched the NL West, but they are up 3 games over the Padres. Looks good, right, April? How we feeling?
Yeah, but we have clinched a postseason spot, and
Yes,
that
we're in the
is
playoffs.
what's important. My concerns still are that bullpen. Because, Lord, it doesn't matter who starts and how good they start, it's the finish. And, whew, yeah, I'm ready for some people not to get on my mound anymore. But
Mhm.
it does feel good to know that
Come
there
on,
is
man.
a sense of safety in us being in the postseason again.
Well, we're here. It was interesting for the Dodgers how we got here. I would say surprising because obviously everybody thought on paper the Dodgers were the best team on paper going into the season, just absolutely loaded from top to bottom. But there was a lot of injuries, a lot of turmoil, a lot of changeover. So as we got to that series, especially some of those series with the Padres later in the season, there was some chances there for other people to kind of grab up, particularly the Padres, to come up and grab the West. They did not do it, and now it looks like the Dodgers are going to be in the driver's seat. But we'll see what happens in the playoffs. One good thing that happened, I know last week, was while the Phillies were running roughshod over you guys for a little bit, Blake Snell came in and really showed up and showed out. I thought that was a really good sign for the Dodgers.
Snell did. Emmett Sheehan had a great show out yesterday, but of course, the other Blake came out and was Blake.
Yeah.
So
The other Blake, he's going
The
to
other
do it.
Blake.
yeah,
Thoughts and prayers.
it's very disappointing. But I'm not gonna lie. What I want to give a shout out to Mookie Betts because he is just looking like the infielder that many people question, including me. Many people question that he could actually assert himself into, and he has just been phenomenal in that role. Like the play he made yesterday, I still don't know how he made that without injuring himself. So kudos to him.
Mookie Betts is not only is he has showed some amazing defense in the last couple of weeks, but he's also really picked up his offense. So as the Dodgers go into the playoffs, they're going to need kind of
Yes.
all of these things to work together. They're going to need Glasnow and Snell, and
Yeah.
they're going to if Ohtani goes to the bullpen, not because he's pitching poorly as a starter, but because they need strength in the bullpen, which they kind of
Right.
don't have. It's probably their biggest weakness, right? So Yamamoto has been great in regards to the starting rotation as well. So it's starting to come back together
Yeah.
and look like the Dodgers are supposed to look. So we'll see. We'll see as we continue on. Now, very exciting to welcome back. First time in 2 weeks. He took like a whole month off. It was like a
Just wasn't the same.
Look, Jimmy Kimmel lost his job and got it back by the time
Oh, wow.
a
lot has occurred.
Butterman Kane, you first of all, happy birthday. Second of all, how's it been going here? How you've been jet setting? What's happening?
Oh yeah. So I had to go see the Seattle Mariners for myself. It was actually I took a trip to Seattle. It was my first time actually going to T-Mobile Park because I needed to see this team for myself. I needed to see what these Seattle Mariners were about because they were streaking at the time, and that's a for real team. I think they walked off against the Angels that night. It was kind of spectacular. Harry Ford came in the clutch, a prospect that we've been following. Yeah, we've been following him. And so I'm starting to see the writing on certain walls in my room. And so I put on all of my, Astros gear tonight. This is actually a 2017 jersey from, that time we did those things. We're trying to pull some very dark energy in right now so that we can kind of get some wins going.
What
in Houston, we are panicking. We need some type of dark magic or some type of maybe some type of code. Maybe an AI that can help us. We're trying to pull some.
Cheat to win, baby.
I hear you. Well, welcome back. And I think we've been Malik, you've been to T-Mobile. I've been to T-Mobile. Flobo, you've been to T-Mobile. April, have you been to Seattle? Now, I think we would all agree top 5 stadium in all of MLB.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
it's top 10 for me. Not quite 5, but it definitely.
Okay, not 5. Not 5.
Yeah, I would say as far as accessibility is concerned, it was really easy to get into the ballpark, and I really like that.
Did you have to use the super face recognition, cut the line?
No,
no,
I
you didn't sign up for this.
I think they had the technology available. I opted out.
Oh, come on. As much as I can play by Dodger Stadium, it cuts my load in like half the time. Like
You're in.
Amazing.
Flobo is like government, take it all.
Please take it.
Yes, fingerprint, everything.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but they didn't drop any hot dogs from the parachutes this time, so I was kind of sad about that. But a great overall experience at T-Mobile.
Well, let's start with what's up first, and that is we are in the last week of the regular season. And you're right. There are some teams now that really have clinched their playoff spots. There are some teams now that have won some divisions. There are some teams now that are really, really putting themselves in the hunt and putting themselves out of the hunt. So I want to start with what happened this last weekend in Houston. But before I do, let's just say what it is. The Toronto Blue Jays and the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's do it by league.
Okay.
As it stands currently right now, as it stands, and I'm just going to be as technical as possible. As technical as possible, as it stands right now, the Toronto Blue Jays are in the American League. No one else,
Mhm.
no one else is officially done.
Wild.
Everybody else in the American League outside of the Blue Jays have some playoff work to do. However, let's take a look at what that work is before we go crazy. But really quickly, on the other side, it's a little bit different because National League, not only are the Philadelphia Phillies in, they are the division champs in the NL East. They've got a 12-game lead over
Right.
the Mets, who are in second place in the East. So they have really done their thing. They clinched out in LA when I think they took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers in that
Mhm.
series.
Mm.
So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Shout out to the two teams that I don't watch in the NL Central. I've been getting a lot of grief from Brewers fans.
Justified grief.
Justified grief from Brewers fans recently in the finish your breakfast highlights. Like the Cub fans don't bother me, but the Brewers fans are like, they're the best team in baseball, and you're not talking about them. So this is what I'll tell you. Not only did they win the NL Central this year, they've won it the last 2 years. This is an actual three-peat in the NL Central for the Milwaukee Brewers. And I don't know much about Pat Murphy, but we sent around a clip today in our kind of group chat. That man seems like he's got a pulse on his team, and he seems really impressive. I've heard some good things about Pat Murphy already, not following him closely. So the Brewers have done their thing. The Cubs are in. The Cubs are in the playoffs. Brewers clinched the division by 7 games. As April mentioned, the Dodgers are in the playoffs. They still have some work to do in the division, but they've got a 3-game lead over the Padres. They are in. So really quickly, Dodgers, Cubs, Brewers, Phillies, National League. The only team that's clinched in the American League are the Blue Jays. They've got, everybody else has some work to do. So let's really quickly now talk about that work. And that is the Yankees have a 4-game lead and the top wild card spot as it stands right now. The Red Sox are in the playoffs right now by 1 game. And then it's the Guardians and the Astros that are tied, with the Guardians having the tiebreak. So if the playoffs started today, the Astros of all teams would be out. The Guardians would be in. The Red Sox and Yankees would be in. And the National League, if the playoffs started today, the Cubs are 8 games up in the wild card. The Padres are 5 games up in the wild card. And this is where it gets interesting. The Reds and the Mets are tied. The Reds have the tiebreaker over the Mets.
Yep.
So if the playoffs started today, the Reds would be in, and they control their own destiny. The Mets would be out. And then you've got the Diamondbacks sitting 1 game out with a week left to play. The Giants 3 games out with a week left to play. And then on the other side, it's really just the Astros. The Rangers and the Royals are 5 and 6 games back, respectfully. So that clears the field. I want to start with what the Mariners have done, because the Mariners just went to Houston and played what everybody would say is one of the bigger series of the entire season. And all the Seattle did was beat the bricks off of Houston in Houston 3 games in a row. And now they are sitting 3 games ahead of the AL West. And even last night, Sunday Night Baseball, it was 5-0 off a J.P. Crawford grand slam home run in the second, followed by Kyle Riley's 58th, that's right, 58th home run of the season. And it just looked like the Astros, I hate to say it this way, they just looked like they didn't have any answers. Mariners looking really, really impressive, Flobo. What do you think of that series? Because I think by default, we kind of lean Houston because they've been there before. But the Mariners just came in and just took their lunch.
Yeah, I got to say that the Mariners prove that they can hang, right? 2 weeks ago, we were on the show saying it'd be kind of a cool, fun, sentimental story. Now, With all due respect to all parties involved, the Astros of this year and even last year aren't the Astros of 2 or 3 years ago. I'm not trying to knock it, just based on overall strength. But here's a team that really took a strong team, a top tier team, and made them look like they were mid, which is
Mhm.
something that puts everyone on notice. Now, this is a dress rehearsal for the playoffs. Doesn't mean you're going to win everything. But if you're even close to getting a wild card ticket, you got to look at the Mariners as a legitimate threat on the AL side, whether or not you're an AL team or whether or not you're an NL team hoping to go to the World Series.
I absolutely agree. Malik, you got the Houston gear on. How worried are you right now based off of what you saw over the weekend?
Uh,
I'm very worried. That to answer your question, I'm worried. And the reason why is because, like Flobo was saying, the Mariners came in and made the Astros look like a mid team. And so we've kind of known this that the Astros have kind of declined after the departures of some of their key guys, whether they've been traded or they've been, got more money somewhere else. And so we're seeing just a kind of a collapse, but in a way that's more influenced by injuries. I think they've sustained about 19 IL visits from their position players and pitchers this year. Multiple pitchers going on IL for Tommy John this year. And so the Astros weren't able to really kind of recover in the way that we expected them to last year. And so I think what we're seeing right now is a team that's really been playing a lot of games since 2015, really making these playoff appearances since 2016. I think that the Astros have been the AL West champions for since 2017 and on, if you're counting 162 game seasons. And so that's something that we're not really used to in Houston. A lot of fans in my group chats are kind of in disbelief. But it's kind of the story of injuries and how other teams that have just developed their players at a different level have caught up with them in different ways. And every team has its run, and so we'll see what they're going to do with these last few games because it's not over yet.
Yeah.
It's not over yet. April, I'm going to bring you in here. You had one of the best texts in the group chat about after Sunday. Was it Sunday night? You're like, I'm glad I didn't go. You were planning on going, and you didn't
Well, I
go.
was looking for tickets Friday. I was talking
Okay.
to one of the teachers in my classroom, and he was like, I think I'm going to go. I'm like, me too. And then I looked and I was like, I don't know. And so
Yeah.
I was kind of happy I was able to keep my coins. But let me tell y'all, the Astros are sending me emails about postseason. So
Right.
there I am getting emails about wild card games. So we'll see how this goes. And the reason why this is interesting because for the next two series, the Astros have the A's and the Angels. Meanwhile, the Mariners have the Rockies and the Dodgers. So that adds a little bit of intrigue and mystique to exactly what's going to happen. And I think that this is something that we just can't automatically turn away from yet. Do I think the Mariners are still able to pull it out? Yeah, maybe. But we don't know yet, especially with the way this schedule is heading out to be.
Yeah, so last Thursday night, Lewis Brinson and I did what we called a confidence poll. Like who are we the most confident in? And we ranked all the teams that were vying for the playoffs. And I'll tell you, the Mariners were the highest or second highest
Really?
rated between the two of us in regards to who we have the most confidence in. And I
Okay.
think this weekend proves that just simply because that lineup is
It was
scary good. If they, I mean, like we talked about Mookie Betts a little bit earlier, really kind of turning it on in recent weeks. Uh, if you've been watching, who I think is a very important part of the Mariners lineup, and that's the number 9 hitter, J.P. Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
Crawford has been kind of showing flashes up and down this season. He is, I think, one of the most important hitters in the lineup because you've got Randy at the top, you've got Riley batting second, you've got J Rod, you've got all of this power kind of condensed in the top half of that order in the middle section. You're gonna have those guys on base like you did in the second inning last night because again they walked in the
Mm-hmm.
first run.
Right.
They got like 3 hits in a row, walked in a run, and then J.P. Crawford puts him over the top. I just think that lineup from top to bottom gives me the ability. It's not as scary yet. It could be, but it gives me the ability. Remember when the Phillies were going to the World Series and they were playing the Yankees, and you looked at those lineups, and from top to bottom, it was like Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, Ryan Howe. Like it seemed like every person in those lineups could have like some real danger. The Mariners, I think 7 out of 9 could be real lethal, right? And if there's other guys, if we're talking about Polanco and Crawford, if those guys can really start to hit, I think that changes the dynamic. Not to mention the other side of it. Brian Wu looks great. George Kirby, these guys are starting to look really good from top to bottom. So Flobo, am I overreacting? Because I really think, one, we're going to see Seattle in the playoffs, and then two, none of the other teams want to see Seattle in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% there. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head about Seattle's second power. Yeah, Cal Raleigh is fine, got the holy eyes going, and the pitching has always been great. But it is arguably in Seattle the longest lineups in Major League Baseball. I mean, them alongside the Guardians are the hottest teams right now. Mm-hmm. And I know it's still the regular season, the playoffs are something different. But what we're seeing here is something that's going to be hard to get anyone out. Like you're just going to wait and hope for ground outs and plays. And that's your strategy is hope that you're going to be on the back foot. But I will say this about the whole confidence issue, and I'm not kind of rag on the AL, but the AL has been so flat over the past 2 or 3 seasons. This may be the perfect time for them. I don't believe in windows so much as the average person, but if this does not put Seattle and Milwaukee in a feel-good World Series matchup, at least when those teams don't make it, then I would say, man, what an opportunity wasted.
And I would love to add too to this that what both Flobo and Cheats have described has been a major concern with the Mariners over the past couple of years. So the batting lineup and the consistency of the lineup showing up when we need it. That has been a lack of confidence in people like me and other fans. So to see them actually be able to pull it together the way that they have, and in this particular moment, like it hasn't shut off, that is extremely impressive.
Malik, I'm going to give you 2 names. And I think this proves the point on the Mariners. Those 2 names are Dominic Calzone and Victor Robles. Because those are the guys in the lineup that you're probably going to want to take your drummers off of, right? You're going to want to face J.P. Crawford, Victor Robles, and Dominic Calzone. And let me tell you something. If you weren't paying attention, I think there was a game where the game that either Raleigh tied the single season record or broke it, that was the story. But the second line of that sentence was Calzone hit 3 home runs in that game, in the same game. Victor Robles has been playing extremely well since he came back up. Victor Robles of I'm going to fight the entire team mode in minor league baseball. But still, Robles, so they went out. And again, I'll put a button on this. But it can't be understated that the Mariners went out at the trade deadline and got Eugenio Suarez back and got Josh Naylor. Put them in the lineup with the guys they already had. And now, like I said, they got Victor Robles back up and this Calzone and JP Crawford. Like, this is a really, really scary lineup, possibly. I mean, we know, we watched enough baseball to know the truth. And the truth is good pitching beats good hitting every day of the week.
Yes.
Every day, especially in the playoffs. Good pitching is going to win. But this lineup is really, really scary.
Yeah, shout out to Calzone. He's always had some really good hard hit numbers across his career. Like I believed in him last year when he was at the Mariners. He had a brief little cup of coffee. But looking at Jorge Polanco, I might have to show him a little more love because he's been slugging about 700 in his last 30 games, about 650. And he's figured out how to really hit in that ballpark. A lot of people had, issues and like questions about, the Mariners ballpark. Is it hard to hit in T-Mobile? And it's real. The Marine layer is real, but it seems like Cal Raleigh and some of those other players around him have kind of surpassed that. especially the likes of Josh Naylor, who is probably having a career season, and he's going to net in a lot of money, especially with being a 2020 first baseman and leading the team in steals.
Naylor's out there stealing bases.
Stealing all the bases.
I think he leads the league in the second half of the season in stolen bases. He laid down a bunt
with
Sunday.
effort, by the way.
Yeah, he laid down a bunt. He put the shift on. Naylor laid down a bunt on the third base side to get on base in the second inning yesterday.
Yeah,
reiterate.
So this is the same Naylor that had that catastrophic injury in right field. Running like this. It's crazy how he's been able to kind of recover from that injury, where I thought it was kind of over for him with that injury, like being an athletic player, but now he's leading the team in steals, so I can't really say nothing about his game.
Two quick things about the Astros before we wrap it up. One, Jeremy Pena was a scratch last night, so that has to be a concern. Obviously, he's playing well. I did not know. So they did the whole Sunday Night Baseball, we're going to live mic Carlos Carrera at third base. And again, it was the interview was fantastic. Carrera did a great job. The interview was fantastic. I'm always concerned about just like them talking and playing and talking and playing, but I guess they pull it off. They're mic'd up. I did not know this. Carlos Correa said that him and Jeremy, he looks at Jeremy Pena like his little brother, to the point where they hit together all this offseason. He just picked them up and they hung out together all offseason and was hitting together. And I don't know how many years they've done it, but yeah, obviously Carrera started the season not with Houston, but the relationship between him and Jeremy Pena is absolutely amazing. It was just amazing to hear and see. So shout out to them, because it could have went the other way just for no reason. Baseball players are baseball players. But it did not. Pena and Carrera seemed to be locked at the hip. And I bet you that was one of the many reasons why Carlos wanted to come back to Houston, because he said, I guess he had a choice possibly, because they had to go to him. Yes. And he had to make the decision about, okay, do we want to go back in this particular trade? Because he said he was as surprised as everyone when the talk started. So that was a really interesting tidbit. Well done for Sunday Night Baseball on their final Sunday Night Baseball for the foreseeable future. Right. So that was pretty amazing. The other thing I did want to mention is it does look like it's a bit of unfortunate news for Black baseball fans like us. It just looks like Cam Smith's just faded out of that lineup. He's on the roster, but they're not I didn't see much of Cam Smith over the weekend, if any.
I think it's really due to the fact that Cam Smith is gassed. Cam Smith did not play many minor league games. When you think about a prospect that went from draft to the major leagues, is quite rare. So he's kind of been thrusted in a role that he shouldn't really be in. The type of player that Cam Smith is right now in his career should be on a team where everything's clicking on all cylinders, and where, kind of like maybe the Dodgers, a team that kind of is, slipping into the playoffs.
I would argue on paper the Astros fit this mold, though, of a team that Cam Smith would be fine on.
Yeah, but I feel like just having him relied upon to play right field in the same fashion that, Tucker did at that level or even close to it was going to be hard, especially since they didn't have a platoon option. So now they got Jesus Sanchez, who has a little bit more grass under his feet, who can kind of take that pressure off of him. Taylor Trammell on the bench and some other players that can kind of help him with that platoon role. So I think it's really just that he's gotten tired, but he's been, put into games with lefties mostly now.
Yeah, I mean, so of the 3 games, he played in game 2. He did not play in game 1 or did not play in game 3. But I've been following, and again, you're right. He has taken on a lot. He has taken on a lot at a very, this is all new to him in that sense. And let's not to mention in spring training, almost as recently as spring training, he was an infielder. He was a third baseman. So they're moving him to right field for opening day starts. And again, I don't have any fear. I don't have the Jordan Walker fear with Cam Smith, that he's just gonna be like a pinball type player. I don't think that at all. But I just think that maybe, especially if the Astros do get into the postseason, we may not see that much of him.
Yeah, there's a possibility. And I think that if there will be some roles for Cam Smith, especially for pitch hitting, because he does put up a really good at-bat, even at a young age. And so I'm confident that with his development, the Astros are going to take their time he's been thrusted into a role where, normally Tucker was sent up and down to AAA when he first came up. And so I'm really at awe on how he's been able to do this season. I read an article in The Athletic that he shows up early before everyone, like every rookie does, but even earlier than some of the players, like at 5 a.m., and he's just in the cages. And so this player is playing some professional baseball for the first time in his life and finding out at the highest level on one of the best teams. And so shout out to him for getting this far.
Dude is absolutely amazing. He's absolutely amazing. That's the AL West. Then that situation, like we said, puts the Astros right now currently out of the playoffs. The reason they are out of the playoffs right now and as we speak is because the Cleveland Guardians are the hottest team in baseball.
Oh, they're tied with the Mariners, right?
The Guardians
Mariners
are tied with the Astros.
No, the Guardians and Mariners are both tied for being the hottest team, right? It's like they're like 9.
Yeah.
How are they doing this?
I'm more impressed because all of the things that we said.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was being sick.
I'm more impressed with the fact that day in and day out, the Cleveland Guardians have made this epic leap. They've just made an epic leap to not only get in the playoff picture. These guys were sellers at the trade.
Since the beginning, they've been sellers.
That's what I'm saying. But okay, not to take shine off of them, but is the story really the 9-1 Cleveland Guardians or the 1-9 Detroit Tigers that was supposed to have this wrapped up by now?
You guys tell me, because I do think the biggest the story is both, but I think the story is it's going to be epic collapse again. It's going to be epic collapse, and it's going to be epic collapse when we talk about the National League as well. Mm-hmm. But it's also very impressive, where I feel like just to put it all in context about where we're ultimately going to go later, where I feel like the National League, the Mets, who did not have a big as lead as the Tigers, I just felt like the Mets was like, they didn't necessarily feel threatened. They were just kind of losing. But it was like the Tigers were losing, and then these Guardians are just surging. And I'm just equally as impressed, if you will, with the Guardians winning baseball games. Maybe more impressed with the Guardians winning baseball games than the Tigers losing baseball games. And I think it's also because we talk about this a lot on this show. Expectations matter. I did not go into the season thinking that the Detroit Tigers were going to be 18 games up on their division, world beating, crushing everyone. I just didn't think that. And now that I feel like the Tigers are coming back down to reality quite a bit, because if we look at this collapse, Scooble's still Scooble. He's still pitching pretty well.
He's the only pitcher.
Jack Flaherty and Charlie Morton and all of these guys that were kind of on the Braves. He signed with the Braves today.
Yes.
But all of these guys that were kind of overachieving have come back down to reality. And I kind of feel like this is kind of where they're supposed to be. I really thought the Guardians were supposed to be in this mix going into the season. And now as we get to the end, how we got here, extremely surprising. But the Guardians are now in the playoffs, and they're one game back behind the failing Tigers. So that's my explanation. So, Flobo, you asked the question. I want to flip it back and ask you. You get the first look at this. What do you think is more impressive?
I like the rationale about expectations versus results, and the National League is full of that this season, right? But I think about the expectations for the Detroit Tigers. They came out hot last year. They were sellers like the Guardians were. They overachieved, and now expectations were on them. But you can't just dismiss the first half of the season. They put so much rope in front of them. It was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be, even if they slip and fall towards the end or stumble into the playoffs, maybe a 5-game lead, maybe a 6-game lead. But the rate of what they lost is something that doesn't even behoove them. My Mets are cursed. That's going to be cursed forever. But the Tigers are supposed to have that in the bank. So what I was saying is, if it was still 8 games, if the Tigers were still 8 games up, we'll be having a golf clap for Cleveland going, 9 games in a row. Pretty nice, young guys. See you guys next year. But there's the fact they can't get their shoes on right now in Detroit. Even Javi Baez having his renaissance, getting that wasted out there in the outfield, to me is a bigger story, because without that story, we don't talk about the Guards at all.
April, same question to you. What's more impressive, the Guardians winning games or the Tigers losing them down the stretch?
Absolutely, the Guardians. I listen. We also can't discount the fact that they lost Clase, and I, I really just knew first off the fact that they weren't winning already, and then you lose your big closer. For me, it was like season over. Like there's really nothing left for us to look forward to because what do we look forward to? And I also believe that that's a big reason why they were sellers at the trade deadline. I believe ultimately that they thought that they too were out of the mix. And lo and behold, here we are talking about the Guardians again, showing up for quite possibly another postseason run. So, yes, I do think that what the Tigers have done was impressive. But something that we've discussed on this show is it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And how you finish is important because it's a long season. And when that fatigue starts to set in, what does it look like for your team, not just to end the season, but also going into the postseason? And so that's why I find the Guardians to be a bit more impressive than what the Tigers have done.
I couldn't agree more. Malik, what's more impressive to you, the rise or the fall?
Well, is it bad that I say both? Because the Guardians, who is hitting on the Guardians outside of J Ram? Can anyone name a player that is hitting?
Oh, my boy Stephen Kwan and Bo Naylor.
Yeah, these guys have been hitting, right? But just as recently, like Stephen Kwan has been hitting pretty much all year. But I'm talking
that guy's
about
good. That guy's
stars that can like carry a team. You think about like teams that have multiple stars, like the Dodgers. You think about teams that have multiple really good role players, like the Brewers. But when you think about the Guardians, you're like, how are they doing this? How is this possible? And but then I look over at their friends, their comrades over there, the Detroit Tigers, and they had a 15-game lead and they spoiled it. They soiled it. Like I just don't understand that. And so I feel like when I look at that collapse and I'm looking at what the Tigers did during the offseason, what they did during the trade deadline, yeah, they made some moves. You know, they did some moves that were cute. But they weren't moves that were going to put this team over the top and like actually make them into a serious playoff team. We loved talking about how well they did this whole season, but when we kind of look at the team as a whole, their lineup is very volatile with players like Torkelson has been great. Riley Green has been great, but they all have certain flaws that a star player could probably, ride the ship with if they start to fumble or they start to, slump. When the players that are like really good at one thing start to slump for a few weeks, it really looks bad when everybody is slumping at the same time. I just saw a game with the Tigers where they just literally spoiled men on first and second with like, I think less than two outs in 6 innings straight. And so they're doing kind of the things that teams do when they're just not clicking on all cylinders. So I'm actually a lot more impressed by how catastrophic that lead just shrunk within the last couple of weeks, really.
I mean, they are calling this one of the like epic second half flameouts of all time. Like it is like in the Detroit Free Press, it is like, is this the worst collapse of like all time per se? I don't think it is.
In reverse.
What's that?
Is this 2024, but in reverse for the Tigers?
That's what they're talking about. They're kind of like down, like. The question last year was, were they going to have enough time to get into the playoffs because they were so hot? Now the question is, can they run out the clock because they are out of gas? And it seems like Cleveland is surging, but they are out of gas. So I guess the question I would have for the group, given if they are even getting in the playoffs, do we have any expectations? Because this, and I hate to keep bringing Flobo's favorite team into this, but my point is, even if the Tigers get in now, even if the Mets hold on and get in or get back in now, Given what's happened, I don't think their expectations can be really high. You've got to think that they're going to be playing a team that's either hotter or better, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Even if you make it, it doesn't mean that you're going to make it to the next point. And that is the important thing. So you're going to get to the postseason, but this is not the regular season. The postseason now has teams playing and pitching their best pitchers. They're playing their best players at this moment. And so some of that fatigue is probably going to set in. Whatever other issues you have are now going to be on full display. How do you manage that at that particular time? I also wanted to bring up the fact that not a single one of us picked the Tigers to win the AL.
What were our picks? This is a great. Bring it up, Abel. What were our picks for this?
You are the only person to select the Guardians.
Let's go.
And the AL Central.
I'm right. Let's go.
And then it was
this dude. I'm right. Let's go.
You looking real? Yeah. And then it was Flobo, Lewis, and me who had the Royals, and Malik, you had the Twins. But the Twins started off pretty impressively. Another team who did. So
there we go.
I actually disagree with that, the payoff thing, because I understand the stumbling in and not having your wits about you, but that break, everyone complains about everything. First and second seed is like, oh, the layoff. That's the reason why we suck. It's like it's a different season altogether when you get in. So that's why it's getting when you fit in. Again, I go back to 2022 when the Mets won 101 games and flamed out against a Padres team that was sorry. It just happens. And so if the Tigers do get in, I hope they do, just for the sake of the story of Detroit. I think they have a chance. Can they win it all? Probably not, but I think they have a chance.
Yeah, just get in. The Nets went in and won. So
yeah, I mean, look,
and the Snakes. Remember the Snakes? That was the World Series. It was great.
Oh, that happened.
Even with these guys, I think going into the playoffs, playing bad or not being hot is one thing, but I mean, I think they're limping in, really struggling.
Crutches.
And if I'm a team that does, if I'm looking around the landscape, because that's the other thing is, like, if you're looking around, who are you afraid of, right? And I'm just going to tell you, I don't think anybody's going to be like, oh, I'm really afraid of the Guardians, even though they're playing really well. But I don't think anyone in the American League is going to be looking around and saying, and I don't think the Yankees or the Blue Jays or the Mariners, they're not going to be like, I'm afraid of Detroit anymore. Where if they had continued that 59-34 first half, maybe so, right? So I think that this is going to be fascinating. Before we move on from this, we just saw it, right? We just saw it in Houston. A massive 3 games. And like I said, the Mariners came in and won all 3 of them on the road. This is a massive, it's 3 games, I believe, right? A massive 3 games starting tomorrow night.
Yes.
Cleveland, is it at Detroit? Or is it at Cleveland?
I think so.
I think it's at Cleveland, no?
Yeah, it's at Cleveland. It's at Cleveland.
So Cleveland's the home team. Massive 3 games.
Yikes.
What do you guys think will happen here? What's the series when we finish this thing up the night of the 25th? What's the series split, or what do you think is going to happen here?
I mean, the hottest team in baseball, hottest team in baseball against one of the coldest teams in baseball, man. That means Detroit's going to win this one. Detroit's going to win this one.
This is playoff baseball right now.
Detroit's going to win 2-1, and we all scratching our heads, going, "What the heck just happened?" That's what baseball is right now, man. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
All right, so you've got Detroit. You've got Detroit winning 2 of these, winning the series.
Yes.
When was the last time the Tigers won a series?
Oh, that's a trivia question for you.
QTNA.
That's a good. All right, but so Flobo, you've got the Tigers winning 2-1. April, what do you got?
For sure, I have the Tigers winning on Tuesday. That's the day that Skubal pitches. So something in me is saying that maybe the Tigers also go up 2-1.
I have an answer for you. It's against the Yankees, 9th, 10th, and 11th of September. They won the 9th and the 10th and lost the 11th.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course they did.
Going into this game, I will be remiss if I did not say the Tigers are on a 6-game losing
You know what?
streak.
I'm gonna go with the Guardians because they're at home. I think I'm gonna go Guardians 2-1. I don't think that they're gonna win the opening thing, but I think that they're gonna pull out something the last 2, and I'll stick with that.
All right, Malik, what say you?
I will say that the Guardians are going to take that series, and they're going to sweep that series, even against Scooble. And I want to say this because someone in the chat said something that was really profound to me. Sid Brown, he is actually an avid Tigers fan and Dodgers fan.
Oh yeah,
yes. And he said, I was asking him, like, Sid, why do you think that the Tigers are losing so much? And he said something about AJ Hinch's over management of games. If you watch a Tigers game, then you're going to know that AJ Hinch is coming out that dugout at least 4 or 5 times.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised he doesn't have a knee brace because of how many times he goes up and down those stairs. But like, I've seen some games where he's switching out, doing the bullpen magic, chaos. I don't think it's working the same way this year. There's a lot of platooning. He put in Trey Sweeney in a game to pinch hit. He has a WRC plus of 1, which means that he's a very bad hitter. And so there's certain moves that are happening in the games that I just don't understand. Just because there's a lefty in there, he throws in a right-handed hitter. I understand these moves. But it just feels very MLB The Show a little bit. And so I feel like the Guardians are just going to play some really, foam at the mouth baseball. And they're going to come at Scooble because Scooble.
What? Foam at the mouth, what?
Foam at the mouth baseball. They want that. They want that number 1 spot again. They want all that smoke. So I don't know. The Guardians look a little bit scary to me.
Let me also add to what you said, Malik. It also seems like analytics is playing a large role in this too. So over management with the use of analytics with that is definitely going to be a big factor, because a lot of times when you're relying on analytics rather than the feel of the game, that changes the dynamics of how things go.
Yeah, and I think Hinch is really
look. I haven't watched every Tigers game. I haven't watched a lot of Tigers games, but what I will say is I do think AJ Hinch is a good manager.
Oh yeah,
I think he's proven it.
Yeah,
where he goes, and obviously, like we said, like it was referenced earlier. Like, I mean, the Tigers were hitting on all cylinders and couldn't do anything wrong. I think just dramatically overachieving. I think they've come back down. I think kind of the baseball gods have balanced this thing out quite a bit. They're doing it at the complete wrong time for the Tigers, but I think the baseball gods are balancing this thing out a little bit. I do agree with you, though, Malik. I think that the Guardians are going to win this series, and I think they'll probably, in Seattle fashion, go in and win all 3. I don't think you can underestimate how excited the crowd in Cleveland's going to be. Yes. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere that goes in there. And I just think outside of Scooble, who can't pitch every game, I mean, he can pitch 1 game for 7 or 8 innings, right? But, he can't do it all. And so I just think that lineup, you did mention Jose Ramirez, who has gotten another season with 30 home runs and 40 stolen bases or something insane.
30 for sure.
He's so good.
And he's 33.
He's so good. And goodness. Like I said, that lineup is coming at you pretty relentlessly. So I'm going to say Guardians. I'm going to say the Guardians 3 in a row at home. And I think they take the division. Huh?
They swept them last week, but I want Detroit Magic, but they did sweep Detroit last week, so I can't lie.
I just think
oh my goodness.
I think they're the better team playing better baseball right now.
Unfortunately for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's where I am on that. Let's switch divisions, because we can say a lot of things about what's happening in the National League picture, but the National League playoff picture really boils down to the Cincinnati Reds, who haven't been as hot as the Cleveland Guardians, but they've been playing good baseball of late. The Cincinnati Reds have been putting it together. The New York Mets, who again aren't necessarily, I will say this, Flobo's right about this. The Mets aren't necessarily as bad as everybody says they are, especially Mets fans, but they're not that great. They're not playing well right now, right? but they're like there's a whole sky is falling self-fulfilling prophecy thing with Mets fans that they're doing right now. And it is what it is. It's very true though. Flobo is right about this.
It is what it is.
And then there's the Diamondbacks, where if any team doesn't blink, the Diamondbacks are going to be in the playoffs.
Right there. Right.
Like they are again, they've gone from sellers at the trade deadline as well to our guy Corbin Carroll having his first ever the Diamondbacks' first ever 30-30 season in the history of the franchise. So Corbin Carroll, there's guys like Zach Gallen. They're Ketel Marte. These are folks that are putting together some pretty good baseball, and they're one game out. How do we think this thing shapes out? How does this play out at the end of the week? Who do we think is going to be in the playoffs? I will say, I remember April. I don't know if April's our statistician on this stuff. Do you remember what I said last episode about who gets in the playoffs? I think I'm again on an island on this one. Do you remember this?
Because you're a big Reds guy, aren't you?
I think I was the only one. I think I was the only one last week.
You and your biases, cheese. I swear. So help me.
I said the Reds were going in. I said the Reds will be in the playoffs.
I want to go back and watch it because on this paper, I'm the only person who actually had the Reds in the division.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, I'm the only person that picked them winning the division.
No, not winning the division. No.
Okay, you making it to the postseason? Yeah.
No, this was last week. We're saying who's getting in. I think everybody said the Mets were in. And
you said it, and I think I backed you up.
What's that?
You definitely said the Reds. You said you were going to stand beside them. And I said, I think I might be behind you with that.
I definitely don't. I didn't think I had them winning the division. I don't. At the beginning of the season, no. I don't think I had them winning the division.
No.
All right. But, Malik, as we finish this week, between the Reds, the Mets, Diamondbacks, as it stands right now, the Reds are in, the Padres are in, and the Cubs are in. I don't think we have to worry about the Padres and Cubs anymore. I mean, we'll see. They still got to play it out. But who is in that last playoff spot?
Okay. I'm going to pick the Mets because I feel like they're going to be playing against the Cubs. The Cubs are in. I feel like there's going to be a little bit of like we're in vibes. It's Chicago. Well, and so they're going to try to play to the point where they force their way into the playoffs. The Reds, they did sweep the Cubs. So that I feel like that there's something going on in Chicago. Maybe they're not that motivated to kind of finish off the season the same way that some of these other teams are who are hungry for a playoff spot. So I think I believe in players like Soto. I believe in Lindor. I do want to see Mets baseball in the postseason because I feel like there's more drama. We need two New York teams there. So I'm picking the Mets to get in, even though I do love those red legs. And Hunter Green.
There you go.
And African American
Chase Burns in the bullpen. Hunter Green, Key Bryant Hayes, Will Benson. You don't like the Reds? All right. So one for the Mets. April, who's in the playoffs out of these three?
So the Diamondbacks start a series with the Dodgers tomorrow. And then they end the series, end the season against the Padres. I don't know if they have what it takes to be able to overcome playing both of those teams back to back. So I'm going to leave the Diamondbacks behind and really just focus on the Mets and the Reds. And y'all, it's just something in me that wants to root for the Reds. I don't know what it is. I
said it. Key Bryant Hayes, Will Benson, Hunter Green, Jake Burns. These are the reasons why
I gave you all those reasons, April.
And I do love the fact that Gavin Lux is also a Red, and he's been playing pretty well there this season too. So yeah, there's a lot going on with the Reds. It's a lot to be excited about. And right now, I don't want to turn my back on them. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Reds.
So, we got one for the Mets, one for the Reds. Flobo, you can't abstain, even though I know you want to. Who's standing tall at the end of this thing?
Man, you know me too well because I would abstain so hard right now. So let's look at strength of last couple of games. The Reds have to go to Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
which is kind of a spoiler team. They're not necessarily a bad team; they're a spoiler team. They can be good or bad.
Yes.
And the Brewers, which are one of the best teams of baseball. And then
Yes.
the Mets have the Cubs, who are floundering, and the Marlins, which is another spoiler team. Not a good team, but they find a way to do it. So I would say it's pretty even Steven there. I think the Mets have this a little bit easier to get in. What the Reds did and beating the Cubs 4 days in a row, I can't knock them for that. Like
Yes.
that to them is a, and a lot of them, the first game, the last game were like 1-0 thrillers, man. Like it really wasn't. The offensive output got cut off. And you can't win if you can't score. But truthfully, man, there's three reasons why I'm going to go for the Mets. Them making it in. One, off the table, I'm a fan. I want to see my boys go for it. I want to do it. Steve Cohen had the 5-year plan. This is 5 years. This is year number 5. I want him to go for it. Two, like Malik said, there is high drama. You told me last year we want New York, we want LA, we want big matchups. What's bigger than New York City being in the playoffs? And three,
Nothing.
Nothing. Look at this field so far on the NL side, right? If the playoffs started today, according to MLB, it'd be it'll be the Brewers, followed by the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Padres, and the Reds. We just need one more villain team, man. Just one more villain team in there to get some high tension drama in there. And I do think if the Mets advance and it's Mets Phillies again, the storylines are built. I think if the Mets get in and they face the Dodgers, storylines are from last year. Like, to me, it just makes a more sensible matchup. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I hate Juan Soto less. It took me a whole year, but I'm not much of a hater. I was a hater. I was the biggest hater. And I want to see this dude do well because he had his best season, So, go ahead.
So you're saying Mets. So we got 2 for the Mets. We got 1 for the Reds. And obviously, I'm going to say at the end of this, the Reds stay hot. I'm going to give you some wild card names here. The biggest wild card name I'm going to give you is Miguel Andujar. He is playing absolutely. He is raking. He is absolutely raking since he's coming to the Reds. And Sal Stewart, the young rookie that they pulled up, obviously is going to be in the playoff roster. These guys are they're like, the cool thing about the Reds is whether you look at Andujar, you look at Will Benton, you look at Sal Stewart that just came up. These guys are doing their jobs. Like, they're really doing their jobs on the field. I know they were really high on this rotation, kind of as like, I think they're high on this rotation in the sense of look at what they can be, and like look at these arms, Andrew Abbott, you know what I mean? Like, look what they could be down the line, Brady Singer, like how good they're going to be next year or 2 years from now, and Chase Burns really develops and Hunter Green continues to develop. There's a guy, yeah. So I don't know if their pitching is World Series championship ready per se. But I think, as exciting as it would be, Flobo, for the Mets to be in, which I do think would bring high drama, media, storylines as well, I think having a guy like Hunter Green pitch in the playoffs and to have him, especially if they put him, he's on a big stage where a lot of people can see Hunter Green really perform, I think that'd be really cool. Like, I think that'd be like exciting that people could really see the ace stuff that he has. He has Cy Young level stuff, and I don't know if enough people are watching and seeing every
Just
Reds game.
picking on sentimental favorites. I understand.
No, I mean, so, and the thing is, Ellie in the playoffs too. Again,
Yeah.
these are not going to be as big as New York Mets stories. They're not Soto, they're not Lindor, right? But if you got Hunter Green and Ellie De La Cruz, like, doing electrifying things in the playoffs, I think it's going to be exciting for baseball people.
Cheats, I'm not disagreeing with your opinion about having the Reds in there, but you can't sit there and be like, it'd be kind of cool if these guys made it. If this time last year you were like, I don't want small teams, I don't want big market teams, forget the Snakes and Corbin Carroll, I want big guys. If Hunter Green makes it, it'd be cool. Which one is it?
I still feel the same about the Snakes and Corbin Carroll, right? But I do.
I still feel the same.
do.
They don't have Bill Benson. They don't have the Brian Hayes. They don't
Question
have-
rescinded. Question
they don't
rescinded.
have enough.
No. I still feel the same about them. But you mentioned it as well. Look at this playoff picture. There's a playoff picture that's going to have the Dodgers and the Yankees in it, right?
Mhm.
There's a playoff picture that probably will have the Red Sox in it,
Probably.
right? There's a playoff picture that will probably have the Padres in it,
Probably.
right? So it's like the only people that are letting us down, as they always do, is the Central.
Can
Like
I-
nobody cares about the Brewers and like the Phillies are in it. So think about that. So really quickly, April, and I'll let you go here. But you've got the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Yankees, the Red Sox,
Right.
all in the playoffs, right?
Uh-huh.
You got the Cubs in the playoffs. So like outside
So
of,
what? You told me you want big cities. So why are you
Those are
entertaining?
Big cities.
those
No, no.
bigger than LA,
What-
New
what-
York, and
No,
Chicago.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you want a big cities, you're getting big cities, but you be like, well, one of the spots should be Cincinnati because I like
I
Island
just
and La
think I think
Cruz.
they're
It's some
exciting.
crap,
I think they're
man.
exciting to watch. I think they're exciting to watch.
You ain't.
It's
You ain't.
Soto. He's the highest paid player
Yeah,
in
don't be a
baseball.
hater, man. Big cities.
What I was gonna say is the Padres have the Brewers the next 3 games, and then the Diamondbacks to end the season.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're gonna lose the next 6. However, what I am going to say is definitely keep an eye out on these games because those intra-league games, the Diamondbacks versus the Padres, they always play each other very tough. And they played each other the last 3 games last season as well. So what is that going to look like? And then, of course, it's the Brewers. So I just wouldn't count them out. And with how tight everything is, I think it would just make an exciting thing to be able to see exactly because we're automatically putting them in this space. But it seems to me like they have they're not in yet. They haven't clinched. And this clinching is going to require some work. So I just wanted to throw that out there because we are talking about what the Reds can do and what the Mets possibly can do. But Padres got some work to do before they enter as well. And the last thing I will say is every year there's always that one team that you're kind of like, this is just a good story for baseball. I feel like the Reds give that moment where it's a great story for baseball, especially with Terry Francona returning as a manager. So I just
making up stories now. Come on.
Listen, I feel a little special about them because y'all know I had them at the beginning of the season. So I'm rooting a little bit harder than
April, stop it. Because if the NLCS was LA versus Cincinnati, ain't no one buy a ticket. Ain't no one gonna watch that. Kidding me?
Let me be happy, okay?
Let's just trade the Brewers. Let's just trade the Brewers for the Mets, and then everybody gets it.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
do that.
That's all I ask.
April, I do think
They got the
I think
win.
I think it is highly unlikely. I think it's highly unlikely. The Padres are 5 games up. They've got 6 games left to play.
They are.
I don't think they go. I mean, who knows? Don't clip me on this because it could be. I just don't think they go 0-6. Like I just.
Probably not. Wishful thinking on my part, because
Yeah,
Fair.
you know,
Yeah.
big rivalry there. Dodgers Padres. We'll see what happens.
Really
Big. All right. Well, look, we've got. Look, I'm excited. We probably did not do justice to the teams that are already in and the teams that have won their divisions, like the Phillies and the Blue Jays. But hey, they're already in, so we'll talk about them next week.
Yeah, man.
Let's move on to a couple of last things before we get out of here. I'm excited to let's just take the pulse and temperature of the room. But before we do, let me make sure that we are thanking our partners, Players Alliance, Numbers Game Scorecards, Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, and Minority Prospects. Make sure you check all of them out. I do want to take the temperature of the room and just to see if anything's changed. The last time we talked about this, all of us said that Cal Riley's season is great. It's a really good story. I think Flobo went on to even say he should be the MVP, but I think we all agreed that he would not be the MVP and Aaron Judge would be the MVP. And I think we had some back and forth on what's valuable, blah, blah, blah. We get that. I'm
Mhm.
just taking the temperature of the room at the end of the year as it stands right now. Riley has continued his tear and his assault on the record books. He is down 58 home runs. He passed Mickey Mantle for the all-time switch hitting home runs in a single season. He's now past Ken Griffey Jr. for the Mariners single season record. He stands alone with this kind of epic season that he's having.
Mhm.
Judge has not stopped playing. Judge is still hitting home runs at a clip that puts him at 49 home runs this season. If he gets one more, he will have 4 seasons in the major leagues with 50 or more home runs, which is absolutely unreal. He still leads the league, the American League, in hitting, batting 326. Obviously, like I said, he's 4th in home runs. He's kind of high up there, obviously, in RBIs. So the question we have, Malik, at the end of the year, when the American League MVP trophy is being held, who's holding it?
Aaron Judge is holding the AL MVP still.
Nothing changed on your end. April, who's holding the trophy?
Mr. All Rise himself, Aaron Judge. And notice I did not hesitate, and y'all know I be thinking sometimes. Yes, I said Aaron Judge.
All right, Aaron Judge again. Flobo, everybody's riding Aaron Judge for the MVP. Where at the end of the season, who's holding the trophy?
Got to get to my boy Arson. I mean, yeah, he's the guy. Arson Judge, the MVP.
Ron. Ron.
Aaron.
All right, so nothing's changed here. Nothing's changed.
I'm still mad about it, but yeah.
You're mad about it, but nothing's changed. Aaron Judge, we all feel, still deserves and has done enough to be the American League MVP of the season.
I think what Cal Riley is doing is amazing. I do wonder if voter fatigue is setting in a little bit with people, with how some people are discussing the topic. And I see more people talking about the home run thing being a large aspect than the totality of the player. So I love what Cal Riley has done. It's just really hard to be able to ignore the consistency of what Aaron Judge has done. Like, this is, you turn on the TV and you just know it's a show whenever he goes out there, and his value to that team when he's not in that lineup, that is a completely different team. So I have to give him the credit that he rightfully deserves. And right now, he is still the MVP of the American League.
Go write an angry blog about how we hate catchers. Go ahead. Framings and art, y'all.
I'll never say that because y'all know I love me some Will Smith.
So again, and I don't want to revisit the entire conversation we had on that previous podcast, but I will say this. Kyle Riley's season has been absolutely unreal. Mm-hmm. It has been unreal, and it was completely unexpected. This is a guy that, I don't know, what was his previous home run total? It was around 30.
It was 30. He was up there, but this is crazy.
No, was it? I mean, it wasn't 40, right? He had hit 40, and it was.
He was hitting 30-ish home runs
34
a year.
last year, 30 years.
That's a lot for a catcher, but this is prolific.
So this is back unreal season. He's got all the records in regards to, the stuff that he's done. He got past Griffey, so he's gonna be, in the record books as all time for that single season accomplishment. Now, when we put him together, Aaron Judge, again, he's batting 326. Kyle Riley's batting 247. The league average is around, I think, 240. Mm-hmm. Like I think it's around 240 this year.
Right.
But obviously Riley has 58 home runs. The Judge is 49. The RBI total, Riley has 121 RBIs to Judge's 105. Now, and again, Riley has about 50 more at bats plus, and he's played in more games because of the Aaron Judge injury, right? Aaron Judge has been walked 117 times this season to Cal Riley's 95. Cal Riley has struck out 179 times this season. Aaron Judge has struck out, I think it was 157. Um, so
It's not
here's the
bad.
thing: the WAR, and I know we don't all get into these super analytics and stuff like that, but the WAR number, Cal Raleigh is 6.9. Aaron Judge's WAR is 9.
Jesus.
I mean, that's B War, but if you look at F
Yeah.
War, they're actually very close because in F War, I think Cal is 8.8 and then Judge is 9.2. And they're really giving them some more defense points with the catching.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: the 6.9 is second in all the American League. So I mean, it's like it's extremely high.
But 9 to 6.9 is
But
crazy. And that being
the
second.
9, the gap is huge.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing: I don't think there's enough fatigue that takes the title away from Aaron Judge. I think there is probably a better narrative with Cal Raleigh, right? He's just doing amazing things. But if the Yankees cruise into the playoffs like we think they're going to do, I know it's a regular season award, but I just think it's going to stay Aaron Judge. Like I think we were all on Aaron Judge. There's just not enough to take it away from him.
I agree.
I don't think. I think Shohei Ohtani's closed the debate on the other side. Schwarber had. No, a couple weeks ago there was some talk about could Schwarber get some votes. I think Shohei Ohtani's.
And maybe Perdomo is kind of underlying candidate.
Not even close.
I mean, and on the war side, he actually leads the league in war.
And if there was, and I will say this, which is the interesting conversation, if there was just one award, not an American League and a National League, if there was just one award, then who wins it? I'm probably.
Then you have to give it to Cal because he's just made history.
That's a debate for another conversation.
I have another debate topic. What does the Hank Aaron Award mean now? If it just means, the most home runs, give it to that guy. Just putting it out there.
Dang. Yeah, that is a good point. Like, do they usually just repeat the MVP for the Hank Aaron Award?
That's what happened last year and the year before.
Yeah.
I mean, when Mike Trout was winning MVP after MVP, he was just doubling up. So
yeah, this might be a year where they split it, right? They maybe give Judge the MVP and give Cal Raleigh the Hank Aaron Award.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Hey,
there you go.
Yeah.
Wait, Cal Raleigh can take Aaron Award? Hold on.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
they would absolutely.
I don't know. I don't think it's for the most for the best offensive season.
Yeah.
It's for the best offensive season, so I think they might still give it to Judge.
They might.
Wow. All right. As we get out of here, as always, this has been great. Couple things out the door. We had mentioned it, so we'll bring it up. Mike Trout, 3 times MVP, 11-time All-Star. He is now getting into the point of astronomical numbers. So he hits home run number 400. He admitted this whole season he really only had one goal this season, and that was to get this number. He admits that because of that, his pursuit of this kind of led him to press a little bit. He may not have had the year that he wanted to have, particularly because this was in the back of his mind. Now that it's over, he could admit freely that it kind of weighed on him. With all of that said, we all know that Mike Trout is, in his kind of the best player, probably one of the best players of like this generation by far. Like not one of, it's probably top 3, you know what I mean? Top 5, depending on when you start the clock. Just surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he's going to be dogged by 2 things. One, he's going to be dogged by playing in Los Angeles. The other team in Los Angeles. He plays for the Angels. And I think he's going to be dogged by injuries. Everybody's going to talk about the injury part of this. You're not going to have a full conversation about Mike Trout without talking about, what would have happened if he had not been hurt. Had he not been hurt, he might as well have been Willie Mays. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is, I think that's where Trout's level is. Right. When you get to 400 Flobo and you look at Mike Trout, he's still got some years left. He's going to continue to play baseball at least, I think, another 5 years plus 5, at least 5.
Yeah. Hard to say that in that team. The Angels just exposed that guy and put him out there in an unsafe environment. But if he got traded to a decent environment, he can go 5 more years easy.
I'm going to give him another 5. What as we stand right now, Flobo, what do you like? What's your overall thoughts on Trout?
I'll say 3 years, but yeah, the Hall of Famer ballot thing. I hate doing that because it seems so arbitrary with Halls of Fame or Halls of Very Good. But yeah, you don't really tell the story of 2000s and 2010s baseball, excuse me, without Mike Trout. I mean, he was a guy for a long time before the arrival of Shohei, and when the Angels were threatening relevance, he was part of that conversation. But I think it's emblematic that someone so good was left on an island, maybe of his choosing with that contract. And that was the other part of the story. Forget the injuries. It's that, yeah, you played for a team that lags in everything from scouting to facilities to even the concession stand. And that really is going to hurt your people's perception of you, you know?
Yeah.
April, what do you think? What's the thoughts? Trout gets 400. What do you when you're looking at Trout? What do you think? And Trout's 34 years old, so.
I too, like, immediately whenever you said 5, I was like, I'll give him 3. I do appreciate the Angels moving him out of center, number one, and putting him in a space where he can possibly DH more, play right field. But when I think of Trout, it's really hard to disconnect him from the era where he was just a highlight reel. Like, you turned on the TV and it was just Mike Trout doing any and everything out in the field, offensively and defensively. So I hope we get a chance to still see him perform at some level to where the younger kids can have an idea of why he will be a Hall of Famer. Because, man, those were some amazing times.
Just for point of emphasis, too, before Malik, I get your thoughts, just to let you know, Mike Trout's contract runs through 2030. So that would be the 5 years.
Okay.
Mike Trout, for the next 5 years per year, is scheduled to make $37 million. $37 million for the next 5 years up until 2030. He would be 38 years old, and he would be an unrestricted free agent at that point. But his contract, years 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30 are all $37 million a year.
Okay.
But 37,116,667. Malik, what's your impressions here on Trout as he hits 4?
Okay, so here's the scenario. I think if the Angels somehow get into the playoffs within these 5 years, I think that he would be okay with just playing out those 5. But if he doesn't actually touch a playoff game, I can see Mike Trout getting to 40 and still playing. And here's the reason why. We talk about the injuries and we talk about, what those injuries have done to his career. But if you really kind of look at the report, some of them have been pretty I would call them like bumps on a car that are very expensive, so he's had like hit by pitches, sliding in the bases and ligament issues. The really bad injury that he had was with his knee. Yeah. His back and his knee. He did have the back issues, which has kind of been plaguing players like Yelich, but his knee, it had kept him out of pretty much the whole season last season. And now Mike Trout has played 125 games. We don't know if he's been hurt or not. He's been, on the shelf sometime this year, but 125 games, the most games he's played since 2022 when he played 119 games. And so I feel like his development as an older player can change. He could become that, quintessential power hitter that Nelson Cruz became in his latter, 5 years of his career after he signed with the Orioles. So I think that Trout has another game to him. He might strike out a little bit more because he's getting older, but that power is still going to be there, the athleticism. And keeping him in right field some games and then DHing might be the best route for him. And I think if he's able to swing it, that's all he needs to do, just kind of like McCutchen right now. So,
yeah, I mean, I do think he ends his career as a DH.
It's okay though.
Yeah. I think he does end his career as DH. But I'm seeing, again, 5 years from now he'd be 38 years old. I'm looking at players like you mentioned, and I feel like he's in that vein of a Nelson Cruz, of Albert Pujols is who I think of. Somebody like that. Those guys played until 40, 42.
Yeah, they played for a long time.
They played for a long time. Now and again, he may not be in that vein. He may be one of those guys, and you know these guys that are, if I'm not kind of not exactly what I used to be, but if I'm not a quality contributor, I can just walk away. Lord knows he's going to have enough money to walk away after the next 3 or 4 years if he wants to. I just don't see that for a Trout. I just see him, you know, kind of almost in that Andre Dawson vein of just like, you know, playing because he loves the game and he still can get out there and put, get a pop. He might not pay past 40. Those guys we're talking about, some of those guys paid past 40. He might get to 30. He might get to that contract at 38 and say that,
I know.
especially if
Yeah.
he's on the Angels, especially if they're still bad, right? Like he's just
Right.
gonna be like, I'm good on that.
Yeah, and who's not paying 39-year-old Mike Trout? I'm paying him. If I'm a GM, if I'm the Giants, I'm paying Mike Trout at 39 or 40.
Another career milestone, which leads to another really interesting question before we exit out of here for good. Giancarlo Stanton is actually the active leader now in career home runs of all the people that are playing. There's only 2 players in Major League Baseball right now with 400 or more. We talked about Mike Trout; they got 400. Stanton got 450 home runs over the weekend, and this starts the question. Now, on the surface, Giancarlo Stanton, I don't think any of us would say right now that he is a Hall of Famer type person. I know, Flobo, you said you hate this conversation, so bear with us. But I think the question is, if Stanton gets to 500, is that enough that gets him in? And like where are we? Stanton looks like a Greek god. Like he looks like, even with all the injuries, that guy is massive. It looks like he's in shape. He's been absolutely killing the ball the second half of this season, and I wouldn't put it past him where this guy gets another 50 home runs. I would say if not by next year, because say he finishes this year in the playoffs, gets into next year, he's going to be approaching 50. Give him a season and a half to do this. Where do you, Malik, do you put Giancarlo Stanton in that conversation if he gets to the 500?
Yeah, I think we have to consider Giancarlo Stanton in that discussion. Now, granted, we talk about how it's not similar to Mike Trout. There's been some injuries that have influenced the outcomes of his career, but if you're looking at 500 home runs, you're in very rare air. You're above some already voted in Hall of Fame players, and it would be kind of a shame not to actually, get him past a few ballots in the Hall of Fame voting. I wouldn't say first ballot is going to be in the works for Giancarlo Stanton, unfortunately, because we have Adam Dunn has 462 home runs, so we have players that have hit home runs at that level. But I think it would be a shame if he wasn't actually just considered, just for his post-season heroics have to also be considered in the voting, and just what his MVPs. He's pretty much done everything that a Hall of Famer would do. And so I think it's a conversation for sure, but not for sure until probably he gets that 500.
April, what do you say? What do you say? By the way, Stanton is 35 years old. Like I said, he's sitting at 450 right now, and he's at 35 home runs. I would say this: the other numbers about his career, like career numbers, are don't necessarily put him in the Hall of Fame conversation, but the home run total does, right? So where would you be on Stanton, especially if he gets 500?
That was my concern. It's not just the home run, it's the other numbers as well. And I don't know if voters are going to consider his play based on that particular thing. But you are right, Malik. Like how he has shown up in the postseason is something that we absolutely can't discount. I'm saying today, right now, I don't know if that's a conversation that I would be willing to have to place him in the same spot with others.
All right. Another caveat about Stanton: he is signed through, I want to say he signed through 26. Looks like there's a club option in 28. He's not an unrestricted free agent until the 2029 season, he would be 39 years old.
Hmm.
So it's an interesting kind of tidbit here. He's getting paid 32 million this year, but it looks like next year it goes down to 19 million, and then after that it goes to 15 million. So his contract, I guess, was front loaded, and it's like going down now. Malik, where would you be on a Stanton Hall of Fame conversation?
Flobo.
No, not Malik. I'm Flobo. I'm sorry, Flobo.
Well, allow me to be devil's advocate because it's the Yankees. Yes, not first ballot Hall of Famer at all. I think the 500 conversation would probably put him over the edge, and the reason being is there are biases for other teams, and most of Stanton's accolades were in Miami, which it doesn't mean any less. But if you think about, okay, the first half of your career you did all this, and the back half of your career you did lack of this, can you be considered a complete player through a certain time? 5-time All-Star, 4 with the Fish. I mean, he was an NLVP, been 17. Like, it just feels like one half of and his injuries too. The elbow thing was weird for me, having both elbows injured at the same time. So yeah, I do think something big like that, like a World Series MVP or a home run milestone, will put that conversation beyond doubt. But if I were to be a devil's advocate and arguing against it, that's what I would say.
That's interesting, and I'm with you. I agree with you about the. I like to call it. This is not accurate, but I like to call it the Stanton line of demarcation, where it's like Mike Stanton for the Marlins and Giancarlo Stanton for the Yankees. That's not the case, but I like to do that. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about this. I wonder, because so many folks, even when you look at like CC Sabathia, who just went in the Hall, when they get to the Yankees, they're like, I'm a Yankee. Like, that's who I am. So I'm interested if indeed this happens, and say it takes Stanton another 2 seasons, right? Would he want to go in as a Yankee? Because by that point he would have played as much time with the Yankees as he has the Marlins.
Yeah, no disrespect to Florida, like, but come on, man. Like, I'm a Yankee hater, but come on, man. That's like the brand. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
the only person. Yeah, let's do like Ichiro. Be like, I'm a Mariner. Everyone else, everybody else says they're Yankee.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question, because again, the Marlins were the team that signed him at 17 years old, right? And he was a Marlin until 27. So that first 10 years, very formative years of his career, he was a Marlin. But since then he's been a Yankee. So it's interesting. I'll tell you this: you get a heck of a lot more money as a Yankee. If you're talking about, if you're going in based off of who's signing your checks, that's the Yankees.
Yeah, and I guess it's always tale that's been the tale of time. They've been the Yankees farm system for a little bit. They got Jazz Chisholm up now with the Yankees. It seems like players just kind of go up to Florida, from Florida to New York. So
absolutely, both teams.
Pipeline.
It show out.
The pipeline.
All right. Well, look, and let's not get it wrong. The Marlins were a pipeline for just about every team, because when the Marlins sell,
but now they're taking everybody's prospects.
I'm dead serious. When the Marlins sell, they sell. Like Stanton and Yelich and Jack. Like, you can name a ton of all-stars that were probably somehow Marlins at one point.
Marlin, Miguel, all these players.
It's not just the Nationals. The Marlins do it too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, this has been real. This has been fantastic. We are coming up on our time. As we mentioned before, Flobo Boys, brand new in the booth. Tell us a little bit about it. Who's on it? Where can people find it? What do you got going on? Let us know.
Oh, yeah. In the booths, wherever you get your podcast. This week, we're sitting with Win Crabtree, a.k.a. DJ for the Win, who is the official DJ for Home Run Derby X, MLB's kind of road show, trying to get people into the game, kind of like their version of Savannah Bananas as far as all baseball is concerned. But plus, this was actually interesting. If you go to the Black Baseball Mixtape YouTube page, we have a bonus video feature of him at the championship, which was this past weekend, over in Salt Lake. So it was kind of cool to see the park, just to ask more questions about Home Run Derby X, what they're trying to achieve, and all that jazz. So make sure you check out the Black Baseball Mixtape YouTube and wherever you get your podcast for In the Booth with Flobo Voice. Very important. You put that with Flobo Voice in there. A lot of in the booths, but the only one that matters right now is the one with.
And is that Home Run Derby X? Is that our boy Nick Swisher? Swisher was it?
Yeah, he was on Team
Involved in that
Yankees
as
this
well.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all.
it was pretty cool. They had AUSL players on there too.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Well, April, I know 10th Inning Talk has some really exciting. I don't know if we can break the news, but you've got some really exciting things coming up. So tell us what's happening with 10th Inning Talk.
Yes, I am going to break the news because I had an amazing guest. The Natola Hawthorne, the first Black woman to ever umpire a Division I baseball game. We chatted it up, and it will premiere this Wednesday on all streaming platforms. So make sure that you are locked in. I asked some really good questions, and she was very honest. So what was great about this particular interview was that we, of course, as fans, we look at things from a certain perspective, but hearing it from an umpire's perspective was a learning matter, but also seeing how she really takes this moment seriously, knowing that she's going ahead of not just other women, but also our community. So I think that y'all will enjoy it. Like, I'm still moved by the episode and all of that. So
When does it drop, April?
it drops Wednesday.
Okay.
So make sure that you are locked in.
Very nice. That is 10th Inning Talk. Malik, what is going on in your neck of the woods? Welcome back. He is
Oh yeah,
back.
I'm getting back
Let's
warmed
go.
up. It looks like I got a lot to catch up on this season, so I'll be making sure to tap in with 10th Inning and Flobo podcast as well because I've been on the ice. I got to get my baseball brain back going for these playoffs. So looking forward to that.
And ladies, thank you, Malik. We're excited about it. And ladies and gentlemen, let me be just completely transparent. We did it last year. We will probably do a lot of it this year as well. I don't exactly know what the schedule will be, but we will have a lot of live podcasts going on during the playoff season. Last year, it pretty much broke us because we were just always on. We will continue to be always on, but I think the idea will be to mix up the rotation and have more different guests jump on in different times and different games, and it'll be a lot of fun to do. So we're getting in game shape, if you will, to get these reps in before the playoffs start, and it'll be a lot of it. Um, on the Black Baseball Mixtape podcast feed, I believe you will hear Scott Bandora, the Giants prospect. Amazing story. Tanny Little League. So he was the catcher when Monet Davis was the pitcher in the Little League World Series. He then went on to Princeton and got drafted in the 7th round of the Major League Baseball draft by the Giants. I believe that was in the 24 draft. Might have been the 23. I think it was the 24 draft. He made it to Double A this season. So we interviewed him while he was playing for the Double A franchise for the Giants. Bo Davidson will be coming up this week. He is the number 5 prospect in the Giants organization as well. He's got a tremendous story. Bo Davidson was out of Major League Baseball. He was out of baseball. He had left
Yeah.
baseball
Oh, wow.
completely after his first JUCO year, and came back, found his way back to JUCO, and ultimately got signed from the Giants. And now he's in Double A and their number 5 prospect. So really good stories coming up, along with obviously all the podcasts that you will catch with the crew. Lewis Brinson on Thursdays. There's just a lot going on. So we want to thank everyone for paying attention. This episode, again, please subscribe, rate, and review to all of the platforms that we work with a Black Baseball Mixtape. And